Okay, good morning, crew. It's Paul Harrison here on Friday morning, and you are receiving this as you have submitted stocks for us to review on the forum. So, as promised, here is a little bit extra where we're actually going through the finer points of these trades. So, first one we've got is VPRT, which is Vistaprint. We've got some line of support here. A lot of shorts coming up, folks. A hell of a lot of a lot of long trades coming up recently, because obviously the heavy sell-off on the US markets. But we've got some support around about here, around about the $30 mark. What I'm concerned about is this gap here. We have seen when there's been gapping like that, a little bit of a consolidation pattern, and often it does sell off there. So if you're looking to trade that, please ensure that you do. That's certainly not one you want to trade with a limit order. You want to use a stop order in order to change direction there as well. Okay. Then we have Charlie Sierra X-Ray, and we have some support around about the $20 mark. Again, there's no recommendations. I'll never give any recommendations on this. Again, this is also gapped down a little bit, and there was a very, very heavy sell-off yesterday, so I quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised to see this actually break that support line today. There is still a fair amount of momentum around that trade there. Then we've got WPRT, and here we had some support at around about the, what's that, 22.75 mark. Okay, so we got some support there. Do I have any problems with that? No, not really. No major issues. Again, entry point's going to be important. It's put on a couple of heavy, 4 heavy days. It's put in a little doji there as well. So maybe that's a little bit of an indication as to a possible change of direction. Certainly a lot more appealing than the ones that were gapping all over the place. Then we have Tango Echo Romeo, and we've got some kind of downward trending resistance line here. I do think this trade has kind of gone already, though, as it put in the shooting star there, and then 2 down days. So I'm guessing that stock has already rolled. It's already gone. SWN. Sierra Whiskey November. Stock already is rolled. Yep, so I think there was some identification of a resistance line there, but that stock's already gone. You see it came up, put in the green bar there, and then it's sold off heavily. So in my books, that stock is already gone. IFSIA, and yep, we had an upward trending support line there. Still sort of mid-range. Next day or two, I reckon, will probably come down to that support line. Yeah, your entry point obviously is going to be, it'll be interesting to see when you get down here how big the entry point is, because if it puts in a big day, then obviously there's going to be a lot of risk there, and you don't have a huge range. So that's something to be aware of. If you were to trade that stock, you need to be ensuring that you get the right entry point on that stock. Then we have AZO, Alpha Zulu Oscar, and yep, resistance around about here, around about this area. Further thoughts, I mean, there is some internal support around about this area as well. But yeah, I think it's maybe gone, if you're using a stop order, you might still be looking at that 1%, but yeah, nothing you haven't seen there before. APA. APA, again, some support at around about the $78 mark. One bounce there, one kind of bounce there, and then it's come down here as well. Be very interested to see what happens here. It's put in a slightly smaller down day, but still a down day. The question is how it's going to operate today. I'm not too sure about that. What's going to happen on the setup today? Then we have AT, Alpha Tango. This is one I think Wolfgang and Paul have made a lot of money on. It's certainly not a stock that's ready to trade right now. The stock has gone completely through that previous support. I know there were, as I said, I think Paul and Wolfgang both traded the stock, and it's sold off significantly. So that's some very, very, very big money you guys have made there. Very big money. Yeah, there we go. I think I might have been quoted as saying I would prefer there to be a bounce mid-range, but evidently that didn't make a difference there. So I'm guessing that was some kind of announcement that came out, or maybe an investigation or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. BS AC. This one has got too little time frames, to less than a year, so I'm not interested. I won't trade anything that's less than a year. CMS upward trending support line. Bada bing, bada bing, bada bing. There we go. Again, a little bit of a reversal pattern put in today or yesterday. You're still going to have your low here. You're going to have to use a break above the high to get into the trade, because obviously it's an upward trending support line, which may play with your ratios a little bit there as well. And we've got hot, and here we have the upward trending support line as well. Bounce, 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 bounce. The sell-off was pretty aggressive here, and this wasn't actually part of this week's sell-off, but it has rallied, and then again you're going to have to use a stop order. Be aware of this big down day. These big down days, they still have a lot of momentum behind them, depending obviously on the personality of the stock. Let's see what it's done previously. Yeah, I mean here, this is an example of the actual personality of the stock. You see it's gapped here, it's come down, and then it's rallied back up there quite aggressively as well. It's done, well, okay, it put in kind of a doji here, but it was a pretty big down day. So this stock is a little bit more erratic, and always take that into the context of the actual stock you're trading. Yes, there was a pretty big down day. Does that mean that it's going to be a problem to trade? Normally speaking, yes, it would be a concern, but taking into the account what the stock has done before, it has been known to move quite quickly off that support line as well. And what is interesting about the stock is there is a massive range here. You have a massive range, and it's been to $60 pretty recently as well. So I kind of like, well, don't like that, I can't say that, but it's a nice look when you see something that's been up there recently. IPXL. Okay, then we have supported circa 20. Again, my concern with this stock is this gapping here. We have seen it time and time again. The stock is gapped, consolidated a little bit. I do like, we've seen this before, man. It comes in and it can put in these kind of dojis. The stock has got a very, very little sense of itself. Reason being is because obviously people have calculated $20 as a good entry point, or an area where the stock is cheap at. They're coming in. These stocks basically says buying activity, but there's still a lot of selling activity after the gap down. More often than not, we've seen the stock sell back over. We have seen them rally back up again, so just something to be aware of there. KO, right, some support, circa 36. Yeah, some support there. It's a bit muddy there, a bit dirty. Not a huge fan of that, but yeah, there we go. There's still some support. Then we got MAC. We have some short-term support around about this area here. I don't know why they make these bloody things. There we go. Some support here. Again, there is some downward trading resistance line there. The highs are getting lower, which is not a great sign, but still, obviously, there's a reasonable range there. Well, it's a tiny range actually, but yeah, there we go. MAC, MCD, supported 86. Yeah, I mean there is some support here, but again, the stock has sold off heavily yesterday, and again, there was a gap here. It sold off, it's consolidated a bit, and then sold off again. I wouldn't be surprised to see McDonald's drop through that support again today. OGXI, some support around about the $12 mark. So there we go. One bounce, a couple of bounces there. I would prefer there to be a clearer bounce here or here, but we're splitting hairs maybe with being a little bit close. But yeah, nothing you can't deal with. A little bit. It actually sold off quite significantly yesterday. So you see, would have opened then sold off and closed slightly lower than what it opened at. But basically, there was a rally. There was a rally towards the end of the day that brought this price back up as well. So if that was some late buying coming, that could be a good sign there. Remember, what's important here as well, folks, is balancing your portfolios, because I know there's a lot of longs coming up now because of the recent sell-offs. But you need to be able to keep your portfolio balanced with longs and shorts, particularly if we can continue to see more of a sell-off in the markets over the next week or so. And if you're just in long positions, it's going to be pretty tough to make money. Support on this one, Red Hat. The stock comes up a hell of a lot. Red Hat support on around about the $49, $49.50. A little bit dirty here, but still does apply to the rules. T. We got some upward trending support. There we go, upward trending, bounce, bounce, bounce. Again, a little bit of a gap, some more down days, some more, sort of put in an indicator there. You see, this is important here when you would have had a stop order to get into that trade, that it would have had to change direction, because, again, it was a big down day yesterday, but should that continue, you wouldn't have been in the trade, so that would have saved you there. But there was obviously that gap, and it was a pretty heavy down day yesterday as well. SLG. So we've got some upward trending support here. Boing, boing, boing. You've got to use a stop order. Reasonably recently, it was at highs there, 85. So that's a pretty decent ratio. However, you're going to have to get that stop order right, and that's a pretty big down day from yesterday as well. CR. CRR, maybe a downward trending resistance line here, but nothing. That stock's probably gone already, but nothing overly exciting there. Okay, then we have a downward trending resistance line here on Kilo India Oscar Romeo. That's right. And that's a short, so we've got a bounce there, bounce there, bounce there. It's put in a slightly up day, but again, a pretty big day. Make sure you get your ratios right. Again, if it came up and put another doji in here, a very small doji, that would make my entry point a lot nicer. I don't know how attractive that's looking at the moment. I haven't done the calculations, but that's a pretty big entry point there. Then we have Charlie India Echo, and that is a support line at around about the $20 mark. The thing that doesn't excite me too much about this, well, mind you, there's a decent range on here. So if we look at that, yeah, there's a decent range up to about the $25 mark. So it looks a lot better when we actually zoom in there as a potential long trade. Cobalt. Okay, then we have MO. Mike Oscar. Supported circa 31, so bounce there, bounce there, bounce there. Yeah, there's support, but it's not clearly defined. You know, I like it coming up and then coming down. Here it's just gone up and then come down a little bit and then gone back up. And, you know, I like a sort of a big movement, a well-defined bounce there. EMC. We have the upward trending support line. Bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada bing. Yep, and it's been to 28 pretty recently. Again, another long trade though. Another long trade. PFE. We've got an upward trending support line. So from there to there to there to there. And it's been to 26. Whether you get your ratios right on that, I don't know. But again, I mean, this is pretty much textbook. Putting in a slightly up doji on that bar. That's pretty much textbook on Pfizer. Then we have Jack. Again, an upward trending support line. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Put in another doji here. You're going to have to use a stop order on that trade to if you were going to trade it. ALLT. What we got here is a support line. At around about the $22 mark. Again, this stock is, you got a downward sell here, but this is a big day here. I mean, that's crazy. To try and get in on a stop order on that kind of trade, it's really going to kill your ratios. So, you know, you'd be looking at the very... Zoom out. Zoom, clear zoom. Yeah, this is a the thing with this entry point is if you're going to have to trade this, if you're going to trade it, I mean, you do have a decent ratio there between 22 and 27.50. If you're going to trade that, you're going to have to use a limit order, because right now what it's put in there is too big to get in. You're going to be risking far too much on that trade. So if you were going to trade it, then you're looking at a limit order. Then we have CAT. Short-term upward trending support line. Strictly speaking, I would say it's probably a little bit too short, that upward trending support line, to give me any interest. Plus, again, it is showing those two heavy downward days, so it wouldn't be ready to trade right now. I'd be looking for something like that. If I saw something like that going in there, it'd be much more appealing to me. SMA. And again, an upward trending support line. There we go. Bounce, bounce, bounce. You've seen these before, you know how to deal with them. And again, it's putting a little bit of a doji there, so it rallied up, came back down at doji. You would be using a stop order to trade that as well. Oh, what did I do there? Clear zoom. Okay, so that's SCCO. Again, upward trending support line. You guys are going to be insanely brilliant at trading when you finish watching these videos, because it's the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's the same thing I'm seeing, and the same thing I'm drumming into you guys is, you know, there are a few things that just have to be done correct. I mean, you've got 99% of the knowledge, but it's just in your application sometimes. I mean, again, you've got nice bounces here. Yes, that pertains to the rules. There is a gap here. We don't normally like trading after a gap too much, because it can break to the downside, you know, after a little bit of a consolidation here. So that would be something wouldn't say concern me, but wouldn't make me overexcited about it. Okay, and then we've got CLAC, which is a support line around about here. Around about 45 is a support line. Again, two big down days. You're going to have to use your stop order here. But this stock does have a pretty decent ratio on it as well. So it has been quite high in August. It's gapped down here. The stock does gap sometimes on the way down, as you can see there as well. And then there, certainly. But again, entry point is going to be critical on this. So that's what we have for this week, folks. Again, as ever, some phenomenal trades coming through. Well done, good stuff. You know, you're 99% of the way there. You really are. People who are submitting stocks, you are 99% of the way there. I think sometimes it's just about having the stocks to trade, which obviously we have now because everybody's sharing the stocks, which is great. But also just refining those entry points, and then being able to get to know the personality, or seeing the personality of the trade. And when you can start reading trades like you can read people, I don't know how good you believe you are at reading people, but you know, I think it's a real life skill. And if certainly working, you know, 10 years in the nightclubs and stuff, you get to read people very well. But I'm starting to realize there's a lot of similarities between reading people and reading the stocks, because the stocks have got their past personalities, which is, you know, their character, which you start being able to read in people, and should be able to start reading in stocks as well. You know, once you get an idea of that, and you get out of your own way as far as you get your psychology right, which you're working on every day, and you get your insights behind what you're doing, which I'm so proud of you guys, because I'm seeing it coming through in every conversation we're having. You've got the insights and the understanding, and you're flying, you're smashing it up. So really proud of you guys. Keep submitting, keep doing what we're doing here, and yeah, have a great week's trading. I look forward to speaking to you on Monday. Cheers, folks. All the very best. Bye bye.